Am I the asshole for how I'm grieving my pet? I, 30F, had to put down my 14-year-old cat Easter Monday at 11 p.m. I've had him all his life. He had not been feeling the best in a few months and my boyfriend, 30M, and I brought him to the emergency vet where we found out he had an incurable cancer, a heart murmur and water in his abdomen. I took the decision to put him down and stayed with him the entire time. I cried all night Monday and went to work Tuesday. Tuesday night cried some more and went to work Wednesday. Wednesday night my boyfriend decided to have a conversation with me telling me that he feels abandoned, how I'm very distant from him, how he feels alone in this relationship and how he's worried about the relationship and about me since I lost my cat. We've been together over a year and living together. I told him I just lost my cat and to give me time, but I'm functioning and it's getting better day by day. He still said how he was doing things around the house to make me happy like the dishes and laundry and even downloaded movies I like to watch, but that because I mostly stayed on my side of the bed when usually we cuddle that he felt alone and not needed. He said he misses my cat too, but how he has to put his emotions aside for me to not put more pressure on me and it's bothering him. I actually got mad and asked why he is doing this right now. I said this isn't the time to be talking about this. He said he has no patience and can't hold his tongue and how it's never the right time cause it always has to be on my time and how it's affecting our relationship. I reminded him how he had ignored me for the entire month on the anniversary of his dad's passing and I never spoke to him like he's doing to me and it hasn't even been 48h so to just give me time. Well, I stopped talking, he kept repeating himself and we went to bed. Now I feel like I'm an asshole for how I'm grieving my loss. He seems to think that me being in my bubble and in my head and not interacting with him like I usually do makes me the asshole. Am I the asshole in this situation? Info. Since people have asked, he has a dog and I have another younger cat. His dog had been hospitalized for 4 days and he was a mess, took a week off work, stayed in bed lights off doing nothing. I held him, I was there for him, I consoled him and did everything in the house. This situation happened a second time but for 2 days. Again I was there. At the anniversary of his father's passing, 9 years this he ignored me completely, pushed me away when I would try and hug and console him and simply gamed day and night. I finally spoke to him about it after a month. Edit. Other than last night, he had been very supportive. He would cuddle me, hug me, hold me, encourage me to cry if needed because I would hold it all in, all the general stuff. I know he is sad about losing my cat and cried with me at the vet. Again, I go to work every day and come home afterwards, we eat dinner and sometimes I have moments of crying. I had a conversation this morning with him. I told him how I felt like he was entitled to feel and act however he wants regarding the 1 month of ignoring me, but how I wasn't allowed a few days to be quiet and sad. He apologized and said he didn't express himself properly and simply wants me to communicate with him and know that he is there for me. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend is extremely needy, emotionally self-centered and lacks empathy. These aren't learnable traits. Your cat has given you an extremely vital gift with its passing. The gift of clarity in how much your boyfriend is an immature narcissist. This is your moment to rid your life of this uncaring individual who is already 30 and still lacks the basic emotional skill set of an 11-year-old. Not the asshole, but this relationship is clearly over. Sorry you had to read it here first. Your boyfriend is 30, right? Why does he sound like a 13-year-old boy? Not the asshole, but your boyfriend sure is. He can't even give you 48 hours to grieve? Losing a pet is like losing a family member. Instead of comforting you, he's acting all needy and going on about how you don't fulfill his relationship needs. I think once you've processed the loss of your cat, it might be time to seriously take stock and reconsider your relationship. Not the asshole, it's not your responsibility to coddle him. You lost a pet who you've had for a large portion of your life. You're allowed to grieve. Relationship stuff can be put on hold for a little bit. Would I be the asshole I made my 10-year-old sister use her birthday money to pay me back? I, 24 female, recently moved back in with my parents so I could finish trade school. My little sister, 10, and I share a Jack and Jill bathroom. I had been noticing slime and spilled wax all over the countertops and an light switch in my side of the bathroom and had talked to my parents about keeping my little sister out of my side of the bathroom. Well, 2 weeks ago I was supposed to go on a date but couldn't find any of my makeup. I asked my little sister if she had taken it out of my bathroom and her response was, "I didn't even know you wore makeup." She's a good kid so I believed her and figured I must have lost my makeup in the move, which pissed me off because I buy expensive stuff since I don't use it too often. I ended up going to the store that day and just replacing the concealer foundation, $100, since I couldn't afford to replace my whole set. Well, this morning I wake up to find my old concealer foundation sitting right on top of the new ones I just bought. I asked my mom if she had found it somewhere and she said she never touched it. It was pretty obvious that it had leaked or something because there was makeup all on the outside of the bottle and it was way more empty than when I last had it. My mom immediately thinks that my little sister took it and goes into her room to snoop around. The next thing I know, my mom starts tossing the room and I'm trying to get her to stop when she finally dumps out a drawer with not only my makeup but a bunch of makeup of my mom's that had gone missing. My sister had taken 2 makeup palettes of mine. One I hadn't even opened yet. Brushes, lipstick, eyeliner, basically everything. On top of that, my mom found open containers of slime and paint that had seeped into the carpet and other shit she had stolen from around the house. All of the makeup she took from my mom and I were destroyed. The palettes were mixed together and cracked, brushes had paint in them, lipstick mashed, and everything was covered in slime. When me and my parents confronted her, she denied everything, even said that she didn't use any of the makeup when it was an obvious lie. My parents have grounded her for a month, no phone, no electronics, and have offered to pay me back, but I don't want them to pay me back, I want her to pay me back. She stole and destroyed nearly $200 in makeup and lied to my face about it. The worst part is I've only been living here for 3 weeks. Her 11th birthday is coming up in 2 months and I'm wondering if I would be the asshole if I made her use her birthday money to pay me back? I feel like taking her birthday money is cruel, especially because it's the only kind of spending money she gets all year and my parents have suggested chores, but what chores is she gonna do for me to pay me back? I do more chores than her and I pay rent. Edit. My parents are not against her paying me back with her birthday money. They actually suggested it first. They're leaving it up to me to decide how I want to be paid back. My grandparents give her a $200 check every birthday on top of toys, art stuff for extra spending money during the year. Too long did not read. 10-year-old sister stole and destroyed $200 worth of makeup from me. Would I be the asshole if I made her pay me back with her birthday money? The real question is, what is going on with your little sister that she is stealing and lying? She's obviously acting out for some reason. The decision of how to punish your sister belongs entirely to your parents, not to you. You can make suggestions, but that's it. Your mother has offered to replace your makeup, so you will be made whole. The fact that you want to be made whole by a 10-year-old, with very limited access to money, or the ability to earn money, is probably not realistic. Again, it is not for you to make your sister fork over her birthday money. You are the sister, not the parent. Being grounded for a month is sufficient punishment. A month feels like an eternity for a 10-year-old. Scheming for her money will make you the asshole. YWBTA, she's being punished and you will be getting the money returned to you. Don't be spiteful to a kid. You are not her mother, you don't get to make demands about her punishment to soothe your desire for revenge. Keep your makeup somewhere she cannot get to it for the time being and stop whining about being 24 and having more responsibility than a 10-year-old. YWNBTA to ask, but the call is for your parents to make. I hope they see sense, because grounding doesn't seem like it's a significant consequence here. Am I the asshole for calling my sister selfish for wanting to do IVF? My 19F oldest sister, 30F, has been struggling with infertility for the past 3 years since they started trying for a baby. This Easter she and her husband made the announcement that they are going to be pursuing IVF and will start a GoFundMe for it. They looked at our parents expectantly, and made it quite clear they expect them to front a lot of the cost. We are far from wealthy and my parents work and save every penny from their labor jobs. I've been working since I was 16 to help support the household too and to save money to move out. Everyone congratulated them on the decision and wished them luck, but when I got a chance I told them they were being selfish for spending money the family doesn't have just to have a biological child, especially since there are so many children out there available for adoption. For context, I was adopted into my family at a young age, so I am probably very biased about this topic. I think IVF in general is a selfish thing to do, and the fact they can't even pay for it themselves is the cherry on top. Now my sister won't speak to me, and my family members except one sister is calling me an asshole for saying that. My one sister says she understands where I'm coming from. Am I the asshole? Edit. Upon further evaluation after reading some comments, I've come to understand my own feelings a bit more. I believe the majority of my hang-up is about IVF itself, not necessarily how my parents choose to spend their money. They are and have always been the most generous, kind-hearted people I know, and I wouldn't want that to change about them, and they can use their money how they see fit. They wouldn't have taken me in if they weren't the kind of people they are. While I currently morally believe it to be better to adopt rather than spend valuable financial and scientific resources for biological children, I now see that expressing this opinion was very asshole behavior, and giving any sort of input into this from a moral high horse was really immature and inappropriate of me. Even if I believe it myself and am planning to adopt eventually too, I definitely do not believe in forcing my belief on others. And I definitely do not personally know the struggles of infertility, as I am still in the please don't be pregnant phase of my life. I will try to be less judgmental in the future and apologize to my sister and hope she can forgive me for my outburst. There is a lot of confusing emotions that got brought up with her announcement that had nothing to do with her and a lot to do with me. Therapy was suggested a lot. Lol, maybe I will look into it once I have a real job. I didn't think I had any pent-up emotions or trauma since my case was easy. My biological parents died when I was 2 and their friends, aka my godparents, now parents, took me in. I don't even remember my bio parents, so I don't think there can be any trauma. I am also not well versed in the adoption, foster system, and figured I would look more into it when it was that time for me, but now is as good a time as any. Thanks for the feedback. It is a truly important lesson that you should never comment on someone's desire to not have children and how they might go about that. It is incredibly personal. Infertility is heartbreaking for many. You were absolutely an asshole for what you said. And yes, history has biased you. It's fine to advocate for adoption. You don't have to call someone selfish while you are doing that. Your sister is an asshole because how you choose to have children should not become someone else's financial burden. But that's still not your conversation to have. That's your parents' call. You are the asshole. I really hate when people use adopt or foster to people who want to go through IVF. Not everyone wants to go that route, and that's okay. Your sister isn't forcing anyone to pay, and she has every right to set up a FundMe account. Stop being so judgmental. Infertility is really hard, and family who judge the path they choose makes it so much more difficult. You are the asshole. It's your sister's choice to get IVF or not. Just adopt is bullshit advice. It's a solution for some people, but not for others. Now your sister also kind of sucks for expecting your parents to pay for it apparently, but you should have probably bring this up with her and your parents in private, not when they're announcing it. Besides, the best way to deal with that is to just let the GoFundMe dry up. If people want to pay, they will. Do you know how expensive adoption is? My sister and her husband did IVF, my husband and I adopted. My sister and her husband's cost was a lot less than what my husband and I paid. Info. Made it quite clear they expect them to front a lot of the cost. How exactly did they make it quite clear they expected your parents to front a lot of the cost? Would I be the asshole if I told my housemates' guests they can't extend their stay? Throw away account, as I don't want this getting back to me. And am just honestly wondering if I'm the asshole. Just to set some context, the house is a rental, with 4 of us on the lease, myself and 3 others. December last year, one of my housemates asked if they could have 2 friends stay with us for a month while they worked in the area that we live in, to save up some money for their overseas trip. They're from a town approximately 4 hours away. I didn't have a problem with this as it was only a month, and we all agreed they would pay their share in rent and bills. About halfway into the month they asked if they could extend their stay until May, making it a 4-month stay instead. At the time it was fine, and they are lovely people, so figured everything would be fine. During that time some things had been bothering me, such as the guests creating rosters for us to clean up, take out the bins, as we've never had to have anything like that, as we all respect each other and keep the place clean. I ended up saying something to the housemate and said that this isn't their place to be making rules, and that's made me uncomfortable, considering I'd still been doing all the big jobs like mopping and deep cleaning common areas. The roster was then scrapped and we haven't had any issues since. About 4 weeks ago the guests went away for a week and it was really calm and peaceful at home, and it really put it into perspective for me how crowded the house was when the guests came back. But we only had about a month left until they were leaving, so I was happy to let them stay until the time we agreed upon. They have now asked if they could stay until the end of June as they haven't made enough money to go traveling. I expressed that I would prefer if we went with the original date as it's getting too crowded for me, and I'm honestly worried about the real estate finding out about the extra people. The guests pleaded that they are desperate and that they would have nowhere else to go at such short notice, and how hard it would be for them to move out now, and asked that I think about the decision further. Everyone in the house has said they don't mind and have left the decision up to me, which has honestly been stressful. They are nice people and I don't want them to be upset, but it's beginning to take a toll on me mentally, and I just want the house to go back to just the original 4. So would I be the asshole if I don't let them extend their stay? Update. I spoke with my housemate, and told them that my decision was that they'd have to be out by the 1st of May. They completely respect my decision and are more than grateful that I'd even considered letting them stay longer. I haven't spoken to the guests yet as they are at work, but I am planning on speaking to them tomorrow. My housemate is certain that they will be respectful of my decision, obviously a bit upset with the situation, but they will have to work it out themselves. Thanks to everyone who commented, it made my decision easier. Smile. Info. They're so desperate but can afford to go out town for a week and contribute to rent? Are they sleeping in a common area? It seems like they're mooching face with monocle. Not the asshole. You should be comfortable in your own place. They already extended, they aren't guests anymore, they are living there. These people are squatters. It's giving Flophouse. Get them out. Not the asshole. You've been more than accommodating and extended it way beyond the original date asked. It's not your fault they haven't been doing their homework and finding out a better living situation for themselves. Not the asshole. They're taking advantage of you.